Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, May 21st, May 21st, 2021. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Chicago. A little bit hot if I'm going to be picky about it, but it's we got Simpsons clouds in the sky, beautiful blue sky, nice puffy clouds, lots of sun, and it is just great. Fantastic weather out. I went with the girls to take the dog for a walk around the neighborhood earlier today. Felt fantastic. Just loving the day. Hopefully you guys are having a good day as well. I'm super excited on a couple of levels because later tonight is the Trials of Miles New York City qualifier. And one of the weird events that's going to be kind of like slipped in there a little bit is a 1 mile exhibition race involving Chris Chavez and Malcolm Gladwell. And there'll be some other people as well, but this is like the main, those are the main two in this mile heat. Isabel Seidel is going to be in there too. Molly Seidel's little sister. And I think there's a dude from The Bachelor, something like that might be in it as well. They're all friends, I think. So lots of people are going to be in this race. I'm super excited about it. It's very peculiar. It's just got my mind reeling because it's these two very like distinct worlds that underneath it all makes a lot of sense, but like on the surface are just like completely bonkers. And so I'm super excited about it. And because of that, and because we had to skip Trivia Tuesday this week, I thought it would be perfect time to make Trivia Tuesday on a Friday about Chris Chavez and Malcolm Gladwell. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hopefully you guys are into that. I already saw earlier, where was it? Chris Yao said, happy to be here for another live stream, but he's sad about the likelihood he won't know anything about this trivia, with some funny emoji faces on there. And I apologize because normally when I do trivia, I try to make it so like even guessing could be fun if you have no idea what the answers are in terms of the way I write the questions. But these are going to be a little bit harder to just randomly guess. You might have to actually like know these two people's information to be able to do it. But the bonus question, though, that's going to be a fun one. I think that's going to be a real fun bonus question for today. So stick around for that either way. Hopefully you guys will have a good time. Before we get to the first question, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version of the podcast. Nothing that I think we're doing today is visual necessarily. So hopefully you guys will be able to follow along in the trivia as well. And as you're listening to this on your run, hopefully you're having a good run out there today. And hopefully the weather for you is as nice as it is for me out here today. And everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you're not watching this maybe you're watching it like just after the race started, or if you're like, waiting for the next race event to go on, this would be a kind of fun one to jump into. So if you're coming over from there, welcome. Glad to have you here. All right. Let's say hi to a couple people first that are in the live stream, and then we'll get to it. Ines says, hi, Kopuzi and everybody. Back to 6 degrees Celsius, about 42 degrees Fahrenheit, and raining for tonight's run with Pip. Ooh, that's chilly. That's like my least favorite weather. Who was it? Someone tweeted out the other day, like, what's the worst running weather? And for me, it's like low 40s, like right around, like a little bit above freezing and raining. It's just absolutely miserable. But I'm guessing Pip still had a really good time too. All right. Philip Bourne's coming in from his balcony, says good day. He's reporting from that balcony, says evening sun at 16 C and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounds just about perfect. Sam Mataza says Malcolm Gladwell looks like a maniac. LOL. Yeah, I mean, the one thing is I found some old pictures of both Gladwell and Chavez, the oldest ones that I could find of each of them. And yeah, Gladwell has he still has fantastic hair, but his race day hair back in the day was incredible. And I was unaware of that until like just a couple of days ago. Albert Long says, hello, friends. Happy Friday. What's going on, Albert? Good to see you again. Cycle on Wednesdays here. Dr. Josh says, what up, fam? Good to see you, Josh. How are you? I mean, he had some good footage from the Nike track the other day. That looked awesome. Rami Yuhana says, TGIF. What's going on, Rami? Steve says, evening all. Hope you had a good day. Siri kept calling me Shirley this morning. I was getting really annoyed. But then I realized I left my phone in airplane mode. All right. It gives you a different name if you do it in airplane mode? Interesting. Oh, there we go. Airplane. I get it. Does it really do? I'm going to have to test that out. Or is that just a dad joke? I'm not sure. You got me all confused, Steve. Jay Pelican says happy Friday. And Steve76 says, yo, what's going on? Awesome, guys. All right. Dr. John says, worst running weather is running in a hurricane or running in acid rain. Do you know what I remember? I remember growing up. I was born in 79. So like I grew up like in the 80s and 90s. Back then, like we didn't talk about climate change or global warming. I mean, we kind of talked about it as global warming, but we talked about acid rain all the time. Like there was even a Simpsons episode about acid rain. Do you guys remember that one when Homer gets the job at the bowling alley? Like that was one of my probably top 5 major concerns from like things that I don't have control over, but I'm nervous about, like earthquakes, hurricanes. I lived on the East Coast, so hurricanes were a big thing. And like acid rain was like a big one. Forest fires was also big because Smokey the Bear was a big thing too. Do you guys remember that? I don't know. All right. Let's see. Let's get to the questions, especially because if there's people new, there's not that many questions. There's 5. We'll chat in between. If you guys got running questions, shoe questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll get to them. If I miss it, put it in there again. I'll catch it. I'm not ignoring it. I just am afraid sometimes I miss it in the chat, and I apologize for making you repeat yourself. But let's do one question, and then we'll get to the trivia for today. Where it go? Ed Chan said, question, endorphin speed suitable for marathon distance? I'm sure they're fast, but these seem kind of firm. Worry my body's going to take a beating over the 42.2. And I think that they're great. I think that they're really well suited for the marathon distance. But if you're thinking that they're firm, try taking them out for a couple, like a longer marathon effort. Like if you've got a workout that looks like, long run with a couple of like 2 to 3 to 5 mile repeats, or maybe like a 7-8 mile stretch of marathon effort miles in there, take them out for that and then see how they feel. I feel like that power run PB material loosens up once you start, moving in a little bit. And so like, don't make your decision based on like easy pace, make your decision based on like marathon pace. And then that's how I go by it. If you don't like it at the end of like a marathon workout, then it's probably not the right shoe for you. You might prefer something a little bit softer, but I would say for me, I think it's great. Adam Stevens says, I definitely remember acid rain concerns. It's one of the good news stories, like the hole in the ozone layer where science saved us from ourselves. Is that something that we don't have to worry about anymore? I don't remember. I just remember that being like, we're constantly worried that was going to happen. All right. Let's get the first question for today. All right. So we're talking about Chris Chavez and Malcolm Gladwell. For those of you who aren't aware, Chris Chavez is a younger individual. He's younger than me. Not that I'm like the definition or like the benchmark. I'm not like the cutoff for young, but he's been very involved in running, track and field. He writes for Sports Illustrated. I don't think he's employed by Sports Illustrated, but he writes for them. He recently interviewed the race director for the New York City Marathon about New York City Marathon coming back, and that was in Sports Illustrated. So he's been involved in the sport for, I think, his entire journalistic career, even back when he was in college. And he's had a big part, he and Sidious Mag have had a big part in the Trials of Miles track meets that have been on YouTube, produced with a high level of production quality. And he's been doing so much to promote the sport, especially during this last like year and a half. So it's been amazing. And at some point, I saw I follow him on like Twitter and Instagram and on Strava too. At one point, I saw a picture of him in a third person running with Malcolm Gladwell, the author, like the New York Times best-selling author, multiple times, like every single book I think he's written has been a New York Times bestseller. A very thoughtful writer. Malcolm Gladwell worked for the Washington Post for a long time, wrote for the New Yorker for quite a while. I mean, he's had like quite an illustrious career. At one point, and he's also, I think, like 20 years older than Chavez, more than 20 years older than Chavez. And at one point I saw Chavez, another person, and then Gladwell with no shirt on doing repeats on the track. There was like a photo of that. And I was like, what is this? What kind of weird photoshopping is that? But it turns out it was an actual thing. Cause then like, it was also like in Strava, it was like other people on the run, Malcolm Gladwell, who I've been following on Strava for years. So that was like the weird kind of like kernel of it. And then it actually became like a thing. So those are those two people. They seem like an unlikely pair, but Gladwell has a pretty substantial running history as well. So it makes sense. So with that all said, let's start out with the basics for today with the with keeping in mind that there is a mile race going on today, with the goal, Chavez is trying to break 5 minutes in the mile, and Gladwell is trying to beat him. I think those are the stakes. So the first question for today is, what is Chris Chavez's current mile PR? Any thoughts on that, everybody? All right. Any thoughts on, what is Chris Chavez's current mile PR? Nick Goldfinch wants to know, while we're waiting for some answers to come in, is the mock good for the half marathon? I think so. I mean, for me, for the half marathon, I'd like to have a plated shoe. But as far as if you're looking for a daily trainer that can do a bunch of things as well as racing half marathons, I think that's a pretty good one. Some other ones that I would consider would be shoes like the Boston 9 and the Hyperion Tempo. But I would say that neither of those two shoes are quite as good at like easy days as the Mach 4 is. So something to consider. All right. Jay Pelican thinks that Chavez's mile PR is 12:34. Martha thinks it's 5:08 and 14:92. Awesome. I Run on Beer says 5:09. You guys are dead on. Some of you guys had lower ones. Philip said 4:42, which is going to be a little low because he's trying to break 5 for today. And Drew Reed says he thinks it's 5:29. Rami thinks 5:21. Chris says 5:38. And this says 5:22. All right. So the answer that I have for this is that, I was looking back, and according to a 2018 tweet, it was 5:13. I think that might have been from a Fifth Avenue mile. But I'm not positive on that. But also, I was reading a recent Runner's World article, because Runner's World also covered this mile event that's coming up. And according to the Runner's World article, it says that Chris Chavez ran a 5:09 last October. I'm guessing that was, maybe not a chip timed event. So I'm not sure that I would count it, because I'm not sure that Chavez was racing in-person events, like real events, for the mile last year. I'm not positive on that. But we're going to go with 5:09. 5:09. Oh, Dr. Josh says there's an Instagram post that says he's 9 seconds away. So, all right, there we go. So I think there's confirmation for that 5:09. Awesome. Very cool. All right. And so question number 2, that leads us to the next one. What is Malcolm Gladwell's current mile PR? And this is going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of answer. I think we might have to accept a couple of answers, because he ran in college. I'm not sure whether he raced a mile in college, because he's Canadian. And not only Canadians, but like at least on the East Coast, for example, we ran the 1600 meters and we called it the mile. So I don't really have a mile time. I have a 1600 meter time from growing up. And then, but other places run the 1500, and in Canada, I guess they run the 1500. So Drew Reed is going to go with 10,000 hours. That's a really good guess. I love it. Let's see. Sam Matassa says 6:58. That's interesting. That's a little bit slow. Runner Dre says 4:18. Dr. Josh says pi. I Run on Beer says 4:54. Nice. Chris Yao says, I can answer that question, but I also do a New York Times bestseller full bulletin format. There was a really funny one that I saw earlier. Where'd it go? Let's see. Hopefully I didn't lose it. Yeah, Chris says, if you ran conversational pace with Gladwell, the problem wouldn't be the speed, but understanding all the depth of his conversation. Can you imagine coming around the home stretch and then Malcolm Gladwell, like a weird, like comic book power up, just drops knowledge on you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, really? I never thought of it that way. And then all of a sudden he's gone. That's his secret power, maybe. All right, let's see if anyone's got it. Rami says 5:02. Brendan says 4:11. Ooh. All right. The answer that I have is 4:54. That's what I Run on Beer also has. We must be looking at the same things. But here's my source. So for 4:54 is there's a couple. It's Malcolm Gladwell, so the answer is nuanced, of course, right? So I have that in 2014, he ran the Fifth Avenue Mile in 4:54, and I think the year after that it was over 5 by a couple of seconds. Strava currently estimates his mile time at 5:15, but I don't think he's putting all his activity on Strava. And these days, he says he runs a couple of days a week. He does like a CrossFit class once a week or something, like some sort of HIIT type of class once a week. I think he's on his bike pretty regularly as well. So like I don't think all his activities in Strava. But in college, he ran the 1500 in 3:55. So I don't know what that converts to. And I know that some people don't count conversions, but I don't know what a 3:55 1500 would convert to for the mile. Add another 109 meters to that. And what do you think he runs in? I don't know. What is that, like 15, 16, 20 seconds? I don't even know. But certainly well under 4:54 if we're talking about like him in his prime, if he lined up for a full like 1,609 meter race. But yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, Will Gravel says like it's hard because he was fast in high school and in college, and now he's he's still fast and just old. Yeah. Sam Matassa says, how tall is Malcolm Gladwell? That's incredible. I don't know. Dr. Josh coming in with the math. That's about a 4:14 mile conversion from a 3:55 1500. And if we're gonna make it, I guess like relevant, like contemporary discussion, we have to say he did it in old fashioned spikes too. Imagine if he had dragonflies. That'd be a sub 4. Oh, that's funny. Stevie76 says, I was told there'd be no math on this quiz. Sorry about that. Yeah, I usually try to not be math in the quiz. Awesome. You guys are so funny. All right. Sue Ann says, ooh, I made it in time with all the wrong answers. Hey, everybody, TJF. Awesome. Wrong answers are always definitely well appreciated. All right, let's get to question number 3 for today. I mentioned Strava, right, already. And I've been following Malcolm Gladwell on Strava for a little while. He's famous for his 10,000 hour theory. For if you haven't read Tipping Point or aren't familiar with the premise, it's that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to attain mastery in whatever it is. And even for people that are seeming overnight successes, their overnight successes comes usually at only comes at the culmination of at least 10,000 hours of practice. So that being said, how many miles, like lifetime miles, does Malcolm Gladwell have on Strava, the app? I mean, he's run clearly before Strava existed, and he does a lot of activity outside of Strava. How many miles do you think he has on Strava? Christian says 10,001. Oh, funny. Donald Beck says for Malcolm Gladwell, he's 5'9" and 128. Oh. I would have pictured him tall. I would have pictured him like about my height, maybe taller. I wonder how tall he is with the hair, because it's like usually pretty tall. I'm guessing he's probably, I think he's probably closer to 6 foot. I bet you he could really like extend it up real high and make it real tall. But 128, it's a pretty wiry frame. It's a good miler frame, I guess. Runners Ray thinks there's 13,000 miles on there. Jay Pelican says 45,000. Recycle on Wednesday says none because it's in kilometers. Do you think he runs in kilometers? I wonder if he runs in kilometers. In his head, do you think he does his splits in kilometers or in? Oh, I wonder. That's a good question. Sam Matassa says 7,050. Suan says 20,000. The number that I found, and the way that it seems, my understanding of how Strava works is like the numbers that you see are whatever you set. So like Strava does the conversion for you. And if you watch Andy's videos when he does his like workouts, you'll see like him like pillar box on each side with the same run, because I think what he does is he takes a screenshot of it in miles and then another screenshot of it in kilometers, and then he just puts both of them up at the same time. So like I'm looking at it in miles, and the number that I saw was that he has 3,047 miles on it. So well short of what it would take to have 10,000 hours of mastery. But he's been running his entire life, so I don't really think that's an accurate figure. For For reference, Chris Chavez has 6,573 miles on Strava. All right. Dude BB says Malcolm Gladwell is currently getting a lot of follows on Strava. You know what's funny is when I first started following him on Strava a couple of years ago, like I don't know if he like set up his privacy settings wrong or what, but like someone was like, "Oh hey, good to see you're back in town," and then he responded back like, "Hey, let's get together. Here's my number. Give me a call." And like his phone number was on there, and I was like, "Is that did Malcolm Gladwell just put his phone number on the internet?" I mean, I think he's since taken that post down from several years ago, but yeah, it's been interesting. All right. Will Gravel says, how do you find how many hours you have logged on Strava? I'm curious my own stats now. It doesn't convert it to hours, I don't think. It does give you your lifetime miles, and it's on your profile page. I'm not sure if it's something that you can find on the mobile app. I know you can find it on, I'm pretty sure you can, but I know you can find it on the web app. So like mine, I think I hit 10,000 miles in Strava a little while ago. I'm not positive about that, but I think I'm about there. So yeah, I've been on Strava. I mean, everything that I have always pushes to Strava, no matter like which watch or device I'm using, and so like it's always been like the bucket that collects everything. So that's all my miles, pretty much all my miles. All right, Josh Greenberg, what's going on? Josh says, got the Endorphin Pros, but can't run in them due to a stress fracture. Oh no! Just from trying them on, the foam doesn't seem nearly as squishy as the Speeds, which alarmed me. Does it feel better up to speed? I do think that it's a little bit more firm. So like if you're looking for like the Endorphin Speed, but with a firm plate in it versus the nylon plate that the Speed has, I don't think that's exactly the right way to think of it. I do think that there's a little bit more like firmness to that midsole foam, but for the distances and speeds that you're running, Josh, like I think that you're gonna like that and appreciate it. So like I would say don't worry about it too much at this point. I mean, right now you can't worry about them too much anyway, because you've got that stress fracture, which is a bummer. But I think you'll be able to. I think you'll enjoy it. That's my guess for you. Not my guess, but my prediction for you. All right. Terry Furlong says Malcolm Gladwell's hair must have cost him 30 seconds a mile. It's like a parachute. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it. I guess we'll see it in action tonight. I just want to see like, it looks tall, but like when he runs, does it just it all like, does the wind take it or does it stay up tall? I'm not sure. So many questions. Like I've seen pictures of him running. I don't think I've ever actually seen him run. So I'm like just incredibly curious. So curious. Just because I admire both of these people very much, and so I love that Malcolm Gladwell narrates his own audiobooks too. I'm a big fan of his podcast as well, and I'm listening to a lot of the Sidious Mag podcasts and enjoying what they're doing with Trials and Miles. So like it's just like a real treat, I'm just a huge fan of the idea. Like one of the things that I've been saying for a long time is that like I'm trying to get like, I would love it if we could do it with the help of the New York Roadrunners, because the New York Roadrunners, for their Fifth Avenue mile, there's a media mile where like journalists, like legit journalists, like people that went to like journalism school and stuff can go. But I'm trying to figure out a way that like, can I convince like Jamie, like Emily Heller, get like Thomas, Megan, Robbie, see if we can get Connor in there, just get everybody into like a YouTuber mile. I would just love to be able to do that. Like, I just think things like that are really funny and amazing. And it would be really interesting to watch. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And this is in that vein. And so I just absolutely love it. All right. Andrew Bostic says, hey, Kovuzi, what's going on, Andrew? I love that picture you got there. I love it. I love like the Simpsons style drawings that people have. All right. Ed Chain says, I wonder if Malcolm Gladwell listens to his own podcast or audiobooks when he's running. On that note, I wonder if Co does. I don't listen to my own podcast while I'm running, because I was already there when we did it, I guess. But I do listen to Malcolm Gladwell books when I'm running. I go through that real fast. Drew Reed says, Kofuzi, the question is more this. If Malcolm Gladwell is fast but runs ugly, are you still a fan? I think I'd be more a fan. If it turns out like he's got like a super unusual gait, but he's still rocking like a 5-minute mile. He did say he's not sure he's got 5-minute mile in him right now. Where did I hear? It was a recent interview I thought I listened to, or was it a real interview that I read? But yeah. But if it turns out like he has like a super weird gait, I'd be really surprised. But I have a feeling that like his is textbook. That's my guess. Absolute textbook. Jack Downey says $20 or more. Give McDonald's for the YouTuber mile. That'd be. I feel like there needs to be a separate category for pro like there could be like YouTuber mile, like shoe-tuber mile, and pro tuber mile. Like there has to be like a distinction because like I'm not gonna go. I mean, and of course I would want all this stuff to be like. I would love if there would be a charity component to it, but like if Dr. Josh shows up and like Sage Canaday shows up and like Nick Simmons show up, I'm like, that's not fun. I want to run with my peers, I don't want to get my doors blown off. So like there needs to be like a couple of elements of that, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Let's see. Mika Kataya says, good to see you again, Mika. Says, even from the sauna capital of the world, pick up the 1080 version 10 for 50 euros from a local store. That's a great deal. Just came from the first 17K zone 3 run with them. Went with narrow fit, snug goodness. Nice. That's a good one. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I saw you recently? So I was about to say, like, this is the year where like all the max cushion shoes, I like last year's version better. 1080, I think I like the version 10 better. Triumph, I think I like the 17 better. But you know what I also just saw? I saw a photo for checkered flag colorway of the Triumph 19. I feel like there's been 3 Triumphs in the less than 2 years. What's going on with that shoe? They just keep making them. Like they're like, we're not making new colorways. We're just increasing the number. Like, is there a number they're going? Are they trying to like catch up to something else? I don't understand what's going on with that shoe. But that's cool, Mika. I'm glad you like that 1080. All right. I Run and Beer says, how are you enjoying training for the Ultra? I like it. I'm not really doing a ton of specific training. I mean, if you looked at my training, you wouldn't think that I was training for an Ultra. You would just be like, oh, he's marathon training. Because it doesn't look that specific. I'm just looking to extend a little bit of endurance on top of like kind of the half marathon training that I had been doing and the 10K training. But I mean, this weekend it'll look different. I just wish I had like another week for rest purposes, not because I want to do more, but because I want to rest more. But I'll be doing like an easy marathon this weekend. I'm going to do my first in-person race in a while. But I mean, I like it. I like that it makes me think more about like, what else can I do other than like just the kind of the out and backs that I do normally along the lake are great. I love them. But it also makes me think about like, what else can I do? How else can I prepare? How else can I simulate? And it's been fun. It's been fun doing different things. All right, let's get to the next question for today. Question number 4. All right, this one's a little bit longer, but ultimately it's what shoe did he wear? But the question is, Chris Chavez recently completed the Goggins challenge. I don't think he did it the same weekend as everyone else did. I think he did it a little bit later. He did it differently. Another part of the Goggins challenge, in addition to like doing the thing, 4 miles every 4 hours for a total of 48 hours, and you end up totaling 48 miles, is you're supposed to raise money for charity for it. And kind of like the ice bucket challenge, you're supposed to raise money for it. It's a part of way to raise money. And when he did it with a bunch of people, a lot of whom are running that mile event tonight. But when he did it, what shoe did he wear that weekend? He ended up helping the team together raise $60,000 to support individuals with addiction and mental health issues, which is amazing. But what shoe did he wear for a 48-hour endurance event? Let's see, what do you guys think? Suman says Vans. Love it. I love it. Sam Matassa says Brooks Ghosts. That's a really good guess. Really good guess. Inez Dunbar says Crocs. The question then is sport mode or regular? Sport mode or regular? Mika Kataya says, funny to hear English natives pronounce sauna. Just says Sinto. How do you say Sinto? I thought I was saying Sinto right. How do you say sauna? I know how Korean people say it, sauna, which is a weird kind of fake cognate to like, are you fighting now? So that's why I think that's interesting. But all right. Let's see what else we got here. Hyperion Tempo, also a really good guess. Very, very close. The Ghosts and the Tempos are super close guesses. Martha says Adios Pro. I don't know that I would wear Adios Pro for like, because the speed didn't matter. It was just a matter of like, you got to get that done. You can run 4 miles in an hour. You can run 4 miles in 28 minutes. You don't have to run another 4 miles for another 4 until like another 4 hours. So like you can do it slow. I would want something like super plush. Fensky says barefoot. Oh, that'd be brave in the streets of New York. Martha picked the glycerin. I run on beer says levitate. Kirsty says it must have been by Vibram. 5 fingers. Nice. Greenberg says fresh pair of Next Percent is what I go with. I think Camille Herron ran her summer solstice in the Next Percents, didn't she? Am I wrong on that? I'm not sure. Yeah, Albert Lung says Clifton's, and Jack Downey had it right. Hyperion Elite, but I mean, I'm assuming you mean Hyperion Elite 2. I'm going to say that because no one ever refers to Hyperion Elite 1. So yeah, he ran it in the Hyperion Elite 2, which I thought was an interesting choice. I mean, maybe he wanted a little bit more stability, but I'm like, that DNA Flash isn't soft. It's not cushy. I think I didn't love the glycerin either. So if someone was like 4x4, do Goggins challenge with the glycerin or the Hyperion Elite 2, I'd probably pick the Hyperion Elite 2, but I don't know that was his choices. Kurt Steves asks, didn't Izzy Seidel run that one as well? And she's running tonight, I think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. No, I don't think so. She did for sure. I know. I'm aware that she did. And she is running tonight as well. I saw, what's an interesting dynamic to watch is Molly Seidel and Isabel Seidel. There's such a strong like big sister, little sister dynamic going on. It's super fun to watch. But Molly Seidel was posting about how her sister was going to be joining in running with the boys for this race. And then who was I listening to a podcast interview with today? I think Allie on the Run was interviewing someone else. I forget her name. Kara Enright. She's also in that friend group. I think she's a captain, one of the captains for the Brooklyn Track Club. I think she's also going to be running, and I think she did. And yeah, I believe she also, that same person also ran that Goggins challenge together too. All right, let's get to the next question, number 5. So I asked you what Chris Chavez recently wore to an event. I'm going to go back in time, and I'm asking you about a pair of shoes that Gladwell wore. He once gave like a one-person TED talk. You know, most of the time TED talks, it's like there's the stage and people are there for like, it's a symposium, like people are there for multiple days and multiple speakers. But there was this like TED talk event that was just Gladwell, and he was talking about his David versus Goliath theory. And I think that became, I don't know the timing of it. Was it before the book or after the book? I'm not sure, but it was about the same topic of the book that he wrote on the subject. So this was back in 2013. Malcolm Gladwell was giving that one-person TED talk about the story of David versus Goliath. What shoes did Gladwell wear for that TED talk? And it's on YouTube. And it has currently over 4 million views. So what shoes was he wearing for that event? He was standing, if that helps you. Jack Downey says, we don't talk about the Hyperion Elite 1. We talk about it all the time, but only if we're going to make fun of it. All right. Sam Matassa says Nike Dunks. I like that. And it's coming in with Crocs again. Pelican thinks it was Birkenstocks. I can't say that I've seen Malcolm Gladwell's feet, so I don't know. What do you think he's going to race into? Do you think he's going to race into Dragonflies? He's a Nike fan. So, I could see him coming in with the Dragonflies. I can see him come. What was the other spike that everyone used to run in? The Matum? I always want to say Matumbos, but they're not Matumbos. They're like Matambos or something. Mambas? I forget what they are. But there's a spike that everyone like normally runs in before like the Dragonflies came out. Eric thinks it was the Nike Waffle OG. I mean, you gotta remember this was 2013. I don't think they were doing like Protros or even retros back then, were they? I'm not sure. They were maybe for Jordans. Runner, I think it was a Sambas. Chris, what's going on, man? Legs are feeling good. Awesome. Good luck today. Hopefully, hopefully you're feeling good. Hopefully Malcolm Gladwell is feeling good too. We're really looking forward to everybody here. Thanks so much for stopping by. Awesome. All right. Frank says Clifton ones. Malcolm Gladwell wearing Clifton ones for the TED Talk. That's amazing. Chris Jess says broken windows theory racers. Nice. I love it. Will Gravel thinks Bondi's. Recycle Windows says cons. Martha says Allbirds. Oh man, that would make me reevaluate Malcolm Gladwell if he was wearing Allbirds. Although if he was wearing Allbirds in 2013, I think that's before, what's his name, when Wisconsin was wearing them. So maybe that would be okay. Suhan thinks checkered vans. Ryan Wells thinks that he'll be in Brooks tonight. I don't know. Albert Long says Doc Martens. Someone who said it came close. Frank. No, that wasn't Frank. It was Mark Forker. I'm saying your last name right. He says Pegasus. That's what I have. I looked at it. I believe they're Pegasus. It's from 2013, so that would have been like the Pegasus 30. And so I've looked at the shoe that he was wearing. I've looked at images of the Peg 30. I didn't start running the Pegasus until the Peg 32 or maybe the 33. So it was a little bit before my time. So yeah. So it was he did a TED Talk wearing pegs. So I think that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Awesome. All right, those are the 5 questions for today. Oh, Kurt's also had pegs too. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So the bonus question for today is, as much as I'm like super thrilled about seeing Chavez and Gladwell go toe to toe in a mile today, it has opened my mind to like what, and here's a question for today. What could possibly top this? Like, what would you want to see next? Like in a world where like all sorts of weird racing is possible. I mean, if we're really, I mean, I still think that this is some very weird, elaborate, like April Fool's Day joke. Cause like I first remember hearing about it like somewhere around April Fool's Day. But I mean, and it keeps growing. The legend keeps growing. Oh, Izzy Seidel's also going to be in there. The dude from The Bachelor is going to be in there. Ali Feller from Ali on the Run is going to be doing the post-race interview. You know, like the legend keeps growing. So I'm like, I'm not, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it's actually happening. There's a part of me that's like, still like, you know, don't let yourself get too attached, because if it doesn't happen, then you won't be as disappointed. But like, what would you want to see? What would you want to see next? Oh my goodness. Obama versus Trump steeplechase. That's so funny. That's so funny. Here's some, let me give you some of the ones that I have to give you some like ideas. So I was thinking like, all right, we've got Chavez and Gladwell. So we've got someone like in running media and someone that's famous who happens to also have done a lot of running before. So one of the ones that I think that I would love to see is Billy Yang versus Gordon Ramsay. I'm not sure what kind of distance. I'm thinking like a good old like UK fell race, like fell running. Like I feel like that's where it's going to happen. If we could do that, because you know, like Billy Yang loves food. I mean, who doesn't love food? But like if you watch his John Muir Trail like adventure, like he spends half the time rating the dehydrated food that he brought. It's amazing, and I feel like him like going head to head with Gordon Ramsay, who has run many marathons himself, I think would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, Tony moves his weight. Malcolm Gladwell, the writer, is racing who? He's racing Chris Chavez. This is amazing, isn't it? Amazing, absolutely amazing. Let's see. What else do we got here? Where's Adam? Yeah, Adam Steves. That's definitely the best one. Yeah, and then it says both Billy and Gordon like the odd F-bomb. That's so true. Oh, that's funny. Oh, That's hilarious. Martha says, Gordon Ramsay's a runner? I guess I can picture that. Yeah, I think he's run the London Marathon several times. I want to say several, like more than 3. Vikram says, The Rock and Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart did run Chicago, so that's for sure. That's for sure. And Eric Fensky says, can you imagine the expletives coming out of Gordon Ramsay in the last 5 miles of a marathon? I'd love to be there for that. Oh, man. That's so funny. Some other ones that I'd like here. I'll give you my list because I've had time. Maybe it'll inspire you guys to come up with some that I'm missing. But here's another one that I'd like. I'd love to see. I don't know what race it would be. I'm not sure what the race distance would be because you'd have to find some way, some sort of equalizer to make it so that they'd be comparable because the talent levels are going to be different. But I'd love to see Lindsey Krause versus Alexi Pappas. I think that'd be an amazing, amazing race. I'm not sure what they would run. I mean, both are very accomplished runners. Lindsey Krause ran at Harvard, and Alexi Pappas is an Olympian. So, like, I mean, even though they're both really good runners, there's still quite a bit, a substantial difference in terms of their running performances. I don't know how we would figure it out, but that's something that I think would be pretty awesome. Another one that I like, I'll give you 3 more. Another one I like, Alex Hutchinson, another Canadian who happens to be a runner that then went into running journalism. Alex Hutchinson versus Rich Roll. I'm not sure what the event, I don't know if it would even be just a running event, but that's another one that I would like to see. There we go. Yeah. And it says, Gordon Ramsay's family all do triathlon. He's big cycling miles and he's on Zwift a lot. Oh, really? That's interesting. Maybe a Ramsay Rich Roll competition. We could do it like, what's that circuit that they're doing where it's all indoors? It's like in a stadium, like around a pool, like that one where you like jump on the treadmill, then you get back in the water, and then you got on the bike, and then it just rotates a whole bunch of times. That'd be amazing. I watch that. Chances I totally watch a YouTuber's race between Casey Neistat and that Ryan kid from Ryan's World. Oh man. A lot of people want to see Trump race. Trump versus Putin in a 100-yard sprint. He says shirtless. I think that's a given. If you got Putin in there, it's gonna be shirtless. Mark wants to see Sage versus SJD. That'd be tough. That'd be pretty. I mean, it depends. I think it would depend on the event. I think it would be close. And we'd have to wait for Sage to come back from his injury. But yeah. Let's see. CV76 says Kabusi versus Head Kicks. I'd do that. That'd be fun. We can raise some money for charity that way. That's awesome. Yeah. Chris says, Super League try. Yeah, I want to see Super League try. Vikram wants Will Ferrell versus Ryan Reynolds versus Kabusi. I don't know. I would lose because I would just be giggling the entire time. That's so fun. That would be funny. Will Ferrell's a runner too. He's run the LA Marathon a couple of times, hasn't he? At least once. I think Ryan Reynolds has also run the LA Marathon, hasn't he? Am I wrong on that? Here we go. And where'd it go? Donald Beck says Pikes Peak Marathon. It might happen. Yeah, that's true. Is Seth the defending champ right now? Did he did just, there's 2, right? There's one that's up and down and one that's just up. Is Seth won the up, right? Or did he win the up and down? I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know that much about the Pikes Peak event. All right. Here is the last 2. I think this is my favorite one. You know what I really want to see, guys? I really want to see Ryan Hall and David Goggins. I don't know what the event's going to be. I don't know what it would be, but there's certainly got to be some sort of challenge where you could put those 2 guys in there. I don't know, maybe even just like a boxing match. That'd just be amazing to watch these 2 guys go. Yeah, I don't really even like boxing, but I would watch that. It'd be crazy. I was just thinking about that today. I was listening to Ryan Hall's podcast this morning on my run, but that would be amazing, right? Right? I feel like it would have to be like at this, it would have to be some sort of like military style challenge where like you're in the water and then like carrying heavy stuff and then running on sand, things like that. Yeah. Yeah, Kirsty said Ryan Hall looks like such a rig these days. Did you see his latest Instagram post? It's a picture of him. You know those bikes that people like, you just go crazy on it? It looks like when a child plays on an exercise bike, but that's how you're supposed to use it. And there's like a fan and it blows on you real hard. He has one where it's like someone did like a burst mode on the phone and he turned that into like a GIF almost. That was pretty funny because his hair just all over the place. He's making all sorts of faces as he's doing it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Christian says a pull-ups and 50K combo event for Hall and Goggins. I mean, Goggins has like the pull-up world record, doesn't he? So like, I mean, and Goggins has done like every ultra that there is. So like, I feel like those are two Goggins strengths. I think we got to get something shorter, faster, for Hall to make it equalized. You know, I don't know. Eric Vinci says, I don't know what the Murph is. I'm assuming that's some sort of military test. Yeah. That'd be fun. Stephen Gertler says, I want to see Kobuzi boxing someone. Oh, no. I would take like one like little jab to the face and I'd be like, oh, I'd get knocked out. I'm no good with that. That would last not very long. I would die. Okay. And here's, if I were to do a race with someone like famous that happened to run, I want to race Dr. Fauci. I don't know what event it would be. But I just want to race Dr. Fauci. I mean, really, I just want to go on a long run with Dr. Fauci and just chat. That's what I really want to do. But if we're going to put some charity money up on it, I want to race Dr. Fauci. That'd be my dream race. All right. As Eric says, the Murph is 1 mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, 1 mile. There you go. Yeah. You'd have to figure out some sort of point system. So you're weighting it a little bit more on the running, I think. But yeah. Chris says, if you race Dr. Fauci, is a mask on or off? Maybe there's a circuit. One race with a mask on, like it's like a beer mile, but a mask mile, like increasingly restrictive masks. Every lap, the first lap is like a buff. Second mask is like a surgical disposable. Third is like an N95. And the fourth is just a face shield. And by the end, it's just fogged. Oh man, that's funny. Carrie Smith says arm wrestle Dr. Fauci. Yeah, I don't know. He could win. He could probably beat me. I feel like he's hitting the gym. I feel like he's thick. You know what I mean? I'm a pushover. So yeah. Kevin Bickerton says Bob versus Brad. I would love to see that. Cause like, I mean, for them, it's like Jay and Silent Bob. Sometimes I forget which one is which, but like, I don't know which one's Bob and which one's Brad, but the shorter one does like judo, I think. And the taller one's got reach. So like, I feel like depending on what kind, I mean, if it was like wrestling or like kickboxing, I don't know. It could be interesting, but they also each have like exquisite knowledge of like all your joints and stuff. So I feel like it would just be like a race to hit the other person's pressure points. Martha also wants to see Bob versus Brad. I mean, maybe we could make that happen because someone said Co versus Bob and Brad. I think they're up in, what are they, in Wisconsin or no? What do they have? Sometimes there's like Packers football back in the background. Sometimes there's a Viking football. So I feel like there's somewhere along the border somewhere probably. I don't know. Are they in Minnesota? I'm not sure. That'd be kind of fun. Recycle on Wednesday says the tall one runs, right? I believe so. I believe he does. I'm not positive on that. I think they both run in Asics though when they run. Am I wrong on that? I feel like I've seen a bunch of gel on that channel. Yeah. Kurt says I still think Co versus Ed Bud. I think it'd be real close. Ed's been working really hard. He's been getting some good results. Josh Greenberg says, yeah, Co versus Ed Bud. Yeah. That'd be fun. I'd enjoy that one a lot. Yeah. All right. Jay Pelican says, yeah, the shorter of the pair is a martial artist. I don't know if I don't know if it's Bob or Brad, but I do remember they were in like a video in like their martial arts like training uniform. I don't know what they're called. Yeah. But that'd be funny. I would really enjoy that. Stevie76 says the Cuomo brothers. I don't know. I feel like that would be like a better like cigar smoking competition or something like that. Because I don't know. I don't know that. I think those are. I think those guys both hit the gym, but I don't know that they're really runners. But that could be interesting. I feel like that one would get dirty fast because they're brothers. So like they just have like decades of like pent up like aggression. I think maybe not even pent up. You know, I think there's just a lot of sibling rivalry that goes on there. Yeah. All right. Duke says Bob is the tall one, Brad is the short one. That's what I always kind of thought. But yeah, thanks for the clarification. I definitely needed it. All right. That was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much for indulging me on this trivia topic for today. And I love your guys' ideas for other like amazing races that I feel like we totally need. We need to start reaching out to these people and just making it a thing. I'm going to just start tagging Ryan Hall and David Goggins in tweets and be like, you guys need to race each other in some sort of event and raise money for charity. People want to see it. Yeah. That'd be so much fun. Tonight though, the race that we're talking about, Chavez versus Gladwell, it's going to be 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. That's local time there. 6:15 p.m. for me, right around dinner time. So we might have to have dinner a little early today in our house. And then, yeah. So that's what I'm going to be watching. I'll be there in the chat. I don't know how much longer I'll be in the chat after that race, but I'll be in there in the chat. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. We can all kind of like geek out over how amazing and surreal the entire experience is there. Hopefully I'll see you there. Tomorrow's video, I went for another run in the Peg 38, gave him another shot. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It'll be a real quick video. And then we will do another live stream, but it's afternoon live stream because tomorrow's Saturday. So 3 p.m. Central Time for the live stream tomorrow. All right. Thanks, everybody. Again, good to see you guys. Until I see you again. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.